That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th.
Well, Justin Trudeau pulls the biggest psych, that's the wrong number, on us and says we will be opening a new session of Parliament and proroguing it immediately as he has announced his resignation. Everything we talked about, everything we were expecting has transpired. So where does this leave us? What's going on? And we have Reg here with us in studio to talk about all of it. Reg, how you feeling after that one?
I feel betrayed, honestly. Watching it, it was funny because all the group chats, everybody was saying the same thing. Josh and I had a very visceral reaction. We're like, oh my God, we're going to an election. Like, it was like Christmas morning and there was no presents. So exactly, like, we knew what was coming. We knew this was going to happen. Old stock Liberals, they were like, you got to go. When you saw even Ontario, Montreal sign on saying, Ontario, Quebec sign on saying that we want you out, there's no way to insulate him from that. And we saw that his House leader stepped down. All the people who just got their fancy new cabinet jobs are not going to be very happy about that. But
shout out Darren Fisher.
But it is what it is, right? I mean, we knew this was coming. We'd hoped for more, but yeah, at least it's something. But honestly, he talks in the speech about, Parliament's been paralyzed for months now. It's like, well, you're going to continue that. Yeah. Great. Fantastic.
Absolutely. And I kind of addressed this in my video that I'm going to be dropping later today. But this is just going to be one step in a very long road this year. That's what's going to be happening. So Trudeau announces his resignation. Now what? Well, he said he's proroguing Parliament, which they can do for virtually as long as they want this year. They only have to sit for 1 day a year. So they can stretch this out as long as possible to have this Liberal leadership race. And we don't know who they're going to bring in. They're going to claim they're going to be doing it through a democratic perspective and doing what they're going to be doing. But we don't know who they're going to be putting up, who's going to be running, and what's going to happen. This party thinks you're so dumb and thinks you're so stupid that this was all on one guy. He made all the decisions. It's only on him. But the reality is this party has propped him up this whole time. You're broke because of the Liberals. You can't afford your groceries because of the Liberals. Everything is race baited because of the Liberals. That's what's happening right now. And do not forget it. No matter who they put up, it's not who we want. We need a new party in power, but they're going to take this as long as possible and stretch it out.
Yeah, and right now, sources are saying that the contenders actually for this race, they're looking at Christy Clark, they're looking at Chrystia Freeland, our favorite ex-finance minister, and then also Mark Carney, the shadow finance minister. So what's really disheartening is the fact that this is the party that claims, we don't want American-style politics brought into Canada. Yet, if they put Carney in there as an unelected new PM, which we know the Liberals have done in the past, what we're going to see is basically exactly the same thing that the Americans did with Kamala, where she was unelected. They put her into a position of power and was hoping that she was going to become president of the United States. And then gaslit everybody who said, no, we don't like that. That feels undemocratic. And claimed that the fascists were the ones who were voting against putting somebody who was not elected in power. Mm-hmm. Like, it's wild. And I kind of see that happening because she's got stink attached to her name. They're not going to like her. Christy Clark is virtually unknown for most of Canada. I had to do a Google search. I was like, former BC premier. Is that who you're talking about? We've got like 3 of them in the States that are Montana governor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just looking at this stuff, you're going, who are you? And that's not who the Liberals need right now. And the unfortunate thing is that there's a lot of Canadians out there who I think feel that Mark Carney is going to be that guy that's going to come in and he's going to save the economy and he's going to fix everything and it's great. And the worst part is that, while he doesn't wear the total blame for everything that's gone on, he was in there like a couple months now.
He still wears a $61 billion deficit. That was his budget, not Chrystia Freeland's, believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly. And so the fact that he didn't go out there to deliver it is, fun. But the fact is, like, we've got a lot of Canadians out there who are like saying like, oh, he's going to be the guy that's going to turn the Liberals around. It's like, no, don't be fooled by this. This is more of the same. And even just listening to Justin Trudeau answer some questions where he literally says that his party has reduced taxes.
Yeah.
Wild. Like, What? You introduced a tax. Everything has gone up. We have EI version 2 now. Like, there's so many things that they've done to increase taxes in this country. And there's other political podcasters and commenters on social media who are like, oh no, like raising taxes is natural. It's just a part of the problem. No, it's not. It really isn't. So don't be fooled by this. Don't be fooled by this BS party. This is just another, like you said, Josh, just another stage in this long drawn out funeral. And we're both wearing black because that's what this is. This is the death of Trudeau's Liberals here. But yeah, don't revive it. Don't bring it back.
Rest in peace is exactly how I'm feeling. And as you said, this is going to be a one long funeral in the most Trudeau-fit way possible. And this is the issue I have. You know, I've heard it on different mainstream media outlets. Mark Carney. He's going to be the guy who can negotiate with Trump. We can actually have a guy who's in business. He's from the private sector. He knows what he's doing. He's just been trying to leverage Canadian tax money for his businesses. But, you know, we won't talk about that and what's going on behind the scenes. We won't talk about those things. However, if it's going to be Mark Carney, they're going to try and vote in. And again, if they're going to be doing a leadership race, there's some hope there will be a democratic process to that. I hope they'll try to vote someone in, not just try to install somebody. But the issue I have is right now, it's January 6th. Trump comes into office in 14 days. If things are prorogued and processes are stilled, who's negotiating with Trump over these issues? Who?
Absolutely no one. And so this party has done exactly what Poilievre said they were going to do in his interview with Peterson weeks ago, when he said that 41 million Canadians are going to be left out to dry when Trump brings in the tariffs and when Trump is basically hanging Canada out to dry, because this party is so self-interested that they don't care. Because for them, they've got excellent pensions, they've got excellent paychecks. It doesn't matter for them. They have every need and every want and every desire catered to by a paid aide. So they don't know what it's like to be a real Canadian, so they don't care. The Trump tariffs don't matter to them. When you have somebody driving around your Lexus for you in a blacked out vehicle that, you know, somebody's already ordered your dry cleaning and somebody's picked out your meal for you and it's all paid for on expenses by the Canadian taxpayer, who cares? A Trump tariff doesn't mean anything to you. So they don't care. They're just like, how do I make sure that my job is secured so I can keep this gravy train rolling and screw the rest of Canada? And that's exactly what this proroguement is. And I blame the Governor General too. I think that idiot is not doing their job. Because if they actually cared about Canadians and if they actually represented, you know, the King's interests in Canada, they would look at this and go, this is a deeply dysfunctional government. We don't need to prorogue it and prolong the agony. We just need to euthanize it, put it out of its misery, go to a new election and give people a voice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the joke. And, you know, you have Dean Blundell and JB Poli-Sci, Rachel Gilmore saying, oh, you know, we don't need these things. The Governor General is just a figurehead. They don't do anything. Well, actually, they do have a role. And we've talked about on the show previously. There is some precedent for the Governor General stepping in. They have the power to do it if they so choose to use it. But the problem is they're cowards and they won't do it.
Yeah, well, look at in 2008, Harper government.
Yeah.
The Governor General didn't have a problem making demands of Harper so that he had to change his request for proroguing government. Where was the change request for this government? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just, and we talk about archaic systems, and if people really do believe that this Governor General is just, you know, a figment of our past and they don't really have any power and blah, 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 which is not true under our current system, then get rid of them. Mm-hmm. Out the door with the Liberals when they go. Because obviously they're not actually working for Canadians if this is what they agree to. They are just kind of a lapdog for the Liberals.
Yeah. And that's exactly the issue. And the problem that we are now witnessing is our system doesn't work for us.
No.
And we've known this for a long time, but now we're continuing to see it unfold before our very eyes. It is disheartening. It stinks to watch as Canadians. And as Poilievre said, we're the ones being hung out to drive on this one. And the issue, again, we talk about with the Governor General not stepping up. Not just Trump tariffs aside. We have foreign interference that hasn't been dealt with. We have the Green Slush Fund documents that haven't been released. we have many other several issues and pieces of corruption that have happened in this government that have not been addressed. You don't think that's any type of grounds for the Governor General to step in and give the Canadians a choice on this one?
Yeah, well, when you look at it, like you said, we have at least 60 documented cases of corruption, scandal, interference, ethics violations, 10 of which are so egregious that should have sent us to an election months ago, sometimes years ago when you actually look at some of them, and still no recourse for Canadians. This, to me, this is just another example of how our Canadian system is broken right now, and that we need to make sure that people are vigilant and that people are paying attention and that people do not vote in any more Liberals. We can pretty much say that Pierre Poilievre is probably going to get his position as Prime Minister when it comes to an election. The polls are showing an overwhelming win, that even if you throw Carney in there, it might take away some seats, but he's still going to win. Don't give him any seats. Don't give the Liberals any seats at all. Like, don't buy the BS. Don't listen to Singh's lies and agree with that. Like, I get it, Pierre Poilievre, he seems like he's a little bit full of himself, but you know what? When you actually read the document, as Josh breaks down in the video this afternoon, like, the guy's for real. And what we need is some real integrity in this government, because we're not getting it right now. And this today was an example of that.
Yeah. So, dang it. You gotta fight for your right. For your country in this case, not the party.
I was gonna say, it's no party right now.
Yeah, no parties here. But I am, as I said, it'll be a long year, but we got to keep our nose to the grindstone, keep fighting, keep exposing what's going to be happening, and hope and pray for the best at this point. That's essentially is all we got. As I said, I think in yesterday's video, you have to be prepared as a Canadian. Start preparing now. Get in touch with the MPs or those who are going to be running in your area as a Conservative or whatever party of your choosing, and figure out how to help them. Or two, start looking how you're going to run in your local elections, how you're going to run in provincial politics, how you're going to have an impact on the ground in one of those factions. Straightforward. Start looking at ways that you can get prepared for when things actually start moving and we can start sending these jabronis packing. I think that is a key thing.
Yeah, and call out the misinformation when you see it.
Yes.
Because the left is loving supposedly doing that. And unfortunately, you've got CBC with like billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars to try and pump that narrative out. And the rest of us, we have us. You know, we have the Elevate podcast, we have Northern Perspectives, Jasmine Lane, we have just us. And so what it's going to take is it's going to take a ground swell kind of movement. And that's what we need to do in order to combat some of this misinformation that's being peddled by these massive marketing agencies, is what I'll call them, that are just designed to keep people who will keep the gravy train rolling for them and their friends in power. And that's all this Trudeau NDP government is.
Do you want to share what CBC referred to Trudeau as?
Oh, man. CBC referred to Justin Trudeau as the first wartime prime minister since Mackenzie King. A wartime prime minister. Like, great. Ridiculous. Insulting, actually.
Hey, you heard about Ukraine? Ukraine's been at war. That's wartime, isn't it? No, that doesn't apply. That doesn't apply.
Oh my God.
Got it.
Yeah. And under that rhetoric, you call everybody who went through the Cold War and then, the situation in the Middle East in the early 2000s, like, you know what I mean? Like, stupid.
Yeah.
No, that is not a wartime prime minister.
Yep.
And God, I would be like worried if he was to bring us into a war.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Please no. That's where we're standing. That's where we're at. And this is the news. This is the update. This is what's happening. And we've talked about who the front runners are and what the Liberals are going to be going to do. Parliament will be prorogued. We have a new session. Is what it is. Now we as Reg said, call the disinformation, call the issues, and keep our heads in keep our eyes vigilant. Sorry.
Yeah. So honestly, one of the big things too is when we think about these what next items, keep an eye on how they are choosing the next leader for the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on Jagmeet Singh and the NDP about what they say about this process. Bloc Québécois, we kind of know what they do. They're in it for Quebec, and that's about it. So they're going to support whoever is going to be most pro-Quebec. Elizabeth May,
See ya.
yeah,
She's done.
whatever. There's not even anything you can say. Like, keep going. you're doing your thing, Lizzie. So
I don't think she's
know,
winning her seat back, if I'm being quite frank with you.
I don't think so either. There's been so many videos of her just absolutely botching like conversations. And then even when you saw that when they released the foreign interference information, she was given an Elizabeth May friendly version. Like, you know what I mean? So not even a contender. People will watch though, is watch that Liberal Party. We'll be watching that race and commenting on it as it happens. And the other thing too is that watch what the Conservative Party does. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a lot of paying attention, a lot of making sure that you're keeping informed and making sure that you're calling out the information that's blatant lies.
Absolutely. And I'll be curious how the Conservatives respond today. They talked about, they announced yesterday that they were holding all their questions until Trudeau made his announcement today. So now we'll see what their response will be moving forward. It'll be interesting. Well, stay tuned for our next video later today. And I'm sorry. It's going to be a little delayed in terms of, I record it before this resignation happens. So be light on me in that one, on the comments on that one. I appreciate it. Anyways, we love you. We're out. Peace.